at the flexor digitorum superficialis muscle. It's in the middle layer of the anterior compartment, which are the flexors of the forearm. So the origin is in the medial epicondyle of the humerus right here, as well as the coronoid process of the ulna and the radial, or the radius below the radial tuberosity. So those are the origins. So I'll go ahead and draw those with the lime green. And then it will come down and inserts into the middle phalanges of digits 2, 3, 4, and 5. And those will go up into the distal or the medial phalanx of each digit. All right, and next is the brachioradialis. The brachioradialis is part of the superficial muscles of the forearm, of the flexors. And the brachioradialis originates from the lateral epicondyle right here, and then inserts at the base of the styloid process of the radius. So we'll just draw a line with the orange marker to show where it would be on the forearm. Okay, and it is innervated by the radial nerve. And then we have pronator teres, which is right here. It originates from the medial epicondyle of the humerus, as well as the coronoid process of the ulna, and then it inserts into the lateral radius, the middle of the radius right here. I'll draw a line to show where that inserts right there, and it is innervated by the median nerve.
So first we have our flexor carpi radialis. So it's going to originate at the medial epicondyle of the humerus, and it's going to insert at the base of the second and the third metacarpals. So I'm going to go ahead and start at the medial epicondyle and draw my line going to the base of the second and the third metacarpals. So that is going to be flexor carpi radialis, and it's going to be innervated by the median nerve. Next, we have the flexor carpi ulnaris, and that is also going to originate at the medial epicondyle of the humerus and the olecranon of the ulna, and it's going to insert on the pisiform bone, the hook of the hamate, and the base of the fifth metacarpal. So I'm going to go ahead and connect my two origins and bring that line all the way down to my 3 insertions, which again was the fifth metacarpal base, the hook of the hamate, and the pisiform bone. That's going to be innervated by the ulnar nerve. Last, we have the palmaris longus. The palmaris longus is going to originate at the medial epicondyle of the humerus as well, and it's going to insert at the flexor retinaculum as well as the palmar aponeurosis. So I'm going to take my line and draw it straight to the flexor retinaculum and the palmar aponeurosis, and the palmaris longus is going to be innervated by the median nerve. Now we'll move on to our finished product of the glove. So for the flexor carpi radialis, we're going to start at the medial epicondyle and go to our second and third metacarpal bases. The palmaris longus is going to also originate at the medial epicondyle and go down to the palmar aponeurosis and flexor retinaculum. And then the flexor carpi ulnaris is also going to be at the medial epicondyle as well as the ulna, and it's going to go down to the pisiform, hook of the hamate, and fifth metacarpal base.
First one is flexor pollicis longus. It's going to be in this color purple. The origin is the middle quarter of the radius, and the insertion will be the distal phalanx of the thumb. Next, I'm going to work on flexor digitorum profundus. It's going to be in the color blue-green. Its origin is the proximal 3/4 of the ulnar, and insert in the distal phalanx of digits 2, 3, 4, and 5. The next one is the pronator quadratus. I'm going to draw it here in orange. Its origin is the distal 1/4 of the ulnar and insert at the distal 1/4 of the radius on the anterior surface.
This is a posterior compartment of the forearm by
Annie, Marilu,
and Aurelio.
This is the extensor carpi ulnaris. We will be using a color blue. The origin is the lateral epicondyle of the humerus, and it inserts in the 5th metacarpal base. Now that we have the outline of the muscle, we're going to fill it in. Now that we're done filling in the muscle, we're going to label it. Next, we have the extensor digiti minimi. We will use the color red. Its origin is in the lateral epicondyle of the humerus, and it inserts in the extensor expansion of the 5th digit. Next, we have the extensor digitorum. We will be using the color green. Its origin is in the lateral epicondyle of the humerus, and it inserts in the extensor expansions of fingers digits 2 to 5. Next, we have the extensor carpi radialis brevis. We will be using the purple color. It originates in the lateral epicondyle of the humerus and it inserts in the third metacarpal base.
Lastly, we have the extensor carpi radialis longus, which is a color orange. It originates on the lateral supracondylar line of the humerus and inserts on the second metacarpal base. This is the final product. From here, we can add ligaments, nerves, anything that you think would be helpful to help you study the muscles, origins, insertions of the forearm.
The first deep layer of muscle that I'm going to draw is the supinator, and it originates at the lateral epicondyle of the humerus and inserts at the posterior and lateral surface of the radius. I am drawing this in green. And then I'm going to fill in the muscle. And then I'm going to label each muscle. The next muscle is the abductor pollicis longus. I'm drawing it in blue. It originates at the lateral surface of the radius and ulna and inserts into the base of the first metacarpal and trapezium. The next muscle is the extensor pollicis brevis. I'm drawing it in pink. It originates at the body of the radius and interosseous membrane and inserts at the base of the first phalanx of the thumb. Next is the extensor pollicis longus. I'm going to use the orange marker. It originates at the middle 1/3 of the ulna and inserts into the thumb distal phalanx. And the last muscle of the deep layer is the extensor indicis. I'm going to use a brown marker. It originates at the surface of the ulna and interosseous membrane and inserts into the second digit extensor expansion. So this is the final product of the deep layers of the forearm. You can print as many copies of the sleeve as you want to practice with them. And after all the practice, you can finally draw them on your sleeve. And you can use Muscle Premium, you can use Google Pictures, use your textbook pictures to help you draw all the muscles for the forearm.